Good morning. Morning report. News and commentary. All right. Aaron Hernandez, former New England Patriot tight end, was found hanged in his jail cell yesterday morning, and so ends a star-crossed life. Hernandez had a great football career in college, went on to the pros, played for about 3 years for the Patriots, showed incredible talent and promise, and had really a great career ahead of him. And then he wound up throwing it all away because he could not resist drugs, alcohol, and his generally bad behavior, which he had been part of his life for a long time. Killed a friend, Odin Lloyd, was convicted of Lloyd's murder, and has been serving a sentence of life without parole since his conviction. He got some good news last week when he was acquitted of murders of 2 other individuals. So it seemed that, at least despite the fact that he was likely to be locked up for the rest of his life, that not everything was going completely downhill in his life in that sense. And he leaves behind a fiancée and a young daughter. But it also happened on the same day that the Patriots, his former team, were visiting the White House to celebrate their Super Bowl victory in February, and that kind of cast a pall over that visit. The Patriots declined to comment about Hernandez initially because they wanted to focus on the more positive things that were going on, and so anyway, regarding the Patriots visit. Standard kind of a thing going on there. This has become tradition for sports champions teams to come to Washington at some point and meet the president and celebrate their championship. Yesterday was no exception to that rule. However, one thing that did occur was that the New York Times sports Twitter account tweeted a photo showing different kind of size of the number of Patriots that attended the White House in 2015 when they won the Super Bowl versus this year. Crowd size was down significantly there behind the president, but the Patriots weren't going to take that sitting down, and so they fired back and said that the picture was taken out of context because they had some 40 members of their staff were actually in the 2015 picture, whereas those staffers were now sitting on the South Lawn near the president. So this was not an apples-to-apples comparison by any stretch of imagination, and they backed up this with a photo from 2004 with President George W. Bush when they came to the White House after winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls, and saying that there was basically the same number of players, more or less, yesterday than there was in 2004. So it's. New York Times was definitely manipulating the news. Call that fake news. They should have known better. They should have been able to easily figure out that the team had plenty of people in attendance. Only a handful of players boycotted the event, mostly for political reasons. And Danny Amendola, one of the wide receivers, he was mentioned by President Trump. Gave a shout out on the air. Amendola thanked him, in a tweet. Amendola apparently was not able to be there because of a funeral, but he had to delete his tweet when he thanked the president because he got so much blowback from people who were upset that he wasn't commenting. He didn't comment on for political reasons. He didn't boycott for political reasons, but did it for personal reasons, and they took issue with that, took an affront to that. So they didn't like that. Also, the news that broke yesterday was Bill O'Reilly is officially out at Fox News. I think this was inevitable given the controversies about sexual harassment settlements that the New York Times revealed a few weeks ago. Apparently, O'Reilly and Fox News have doled out $13 million of hush money, I guess you could call it, to 5 women who had accused Fox News of O'Reilly of sexual harassment or just unwanted behavior. And since the time he signed off on the air on April 12th, saying he was coming back on the 24th. There have been more women that have come forth. And you have to kind of separate things out, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag here with this, because not everybody's doing this for the same reason. But anyway, O'Reilly's loss will be felt by the network. He was the anchor, the number one show for 16 years on cable news. He anchored their primetime lineup, providing huge ratings not only in his own time slot, but the trailing ratings for, he fed into other programs, which benefited greatly from the lead-in that he had. So those days are probably gone. Tucker Carlson is taking over at 8. That's his third time slot since joining the network for a talk show. And he'll be followed by the 5, which will move from 5 p.m. into the 9 p.m. slot. And then the 5, Eric's Bowling will get his own show starting on May 1st. So that lineup has been altered. Martha McCallum stays in 7 o'clock time slot. She'll just get a new show with a new name. I don't know if that name will come up right when her everything expires or not, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. The ratings are definitely bound to take a hit. It's just not going to be the same without O'Reilly, anchoring that 8 p.m. slot. Carlson is unlikely to gather the same ratings as O'Reilly, so expect a drop-off. That means the other networks will gain a little bit of ground on them, but Fox is so far ahead that even if they take a slight haircut in the ratings, it doesn't affect them much overall, except for the ego of being able to tout all these great programs in cable news and on news and on cable in general. They just may see a drop-off in there and a weak point that is there to be exploited. And then also Jason Chaffetz announced that he will not be running for re-election in Utah in 2018. Didn't rule out doing something in 2020. There's a governor's race that'll be coming up, so that seems that he's plotting that move where he can be in charge of many rather than being one person who's trying to fight a crusade and is really the only person doing certain things. So his prized House Oversight chairmanship will be up for grabs, so it'll be interesting to see who they come up with to replace him in the end. Also, finally, Great Britain's Parliament voted unanimously, well, at least overwhelmingly, for Theresa May's call for a snap election in June, and that will likely strengthen her hand in the Parliament. She's got about a 17-seat majority right now. The calls are between 112 and 150 is what the majority will look like after the election. Not only will that be a commanding number of members of Parliament to be able to get her agenda through as Great Britain goes through Brexit, but she is definitely looking like a woman that you don't want to mess with, making me kind of think about Margaret Thatcher and how much she ruled things with an iron fist, more iron fist than velvet glove, I guess. And where Theresa May now may be showing some of those same talents, and she's really been handling the newsrooms quite effectively so far. Anyway, that's it for the news. See you tomorrow for another morning report. Also, we'll be posting, actually I think it's already up, double check that. The full version of the podcast should be up here on YouTube. The audio is already on SoundCloud and on iTunes, so you can always check it out there. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have any comments? Send them along. Stay safe.